This is the AEW Dynamite March 6, 2024 results video which takes place at Gas South Arena in Duluth, Georgia. Tony Schiavone is in the ring to interview Shane, Swerve, Strickland, and he says it's 2 years to the day since he signed his contract at AEW Revolution 2022, and he said he was gonna give his all to AEW and win championships, but here he is with no title. Something about Sunday felt really different, and he goes from arena to arena hearing us sing and chant his name and do the dance and everything, but Greensboro felt different, like people were truly rooting for him for the first time, like we really wanted him to win and make history. He calls Samoa Joe out and says title or no, he's coming for him, and he promises he's going to win the world title, before asking the audience whose house it is and getting a resounding answer of Swerve's house. Samoa Joe comes, and he says instead of seeing an almost champion, he thought he'd come out here and let the people gaze upon an actual world champion. Strickland tells him not to turn his back on him when he can't even beat him, and he challenges him to a title match tonight, or how about they do it right now? Undisputed Kingdom, with the new one contender Wardlow in tow, and Adam Cole was to have story time and says they have the only story worth anything coming out of Revolution. Just like they said, Roderick Strong is your new AEW International Champion, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven are still the greatest ROH World Tag Team Champions of all time. Samoa Joe is big and bad, but the only reason he's still champ is because they let it happen, and Swerve, the hot new thing, 6 months from now, no one will give a damn about him, and the only thing he's gonna swerve from is the main event scene, because no way in hell he wins the title, but Wardlow will win the title. Shane fires back that he's got Britt Baker's number in his pocket, and Cole books a match, Bennett and Taven against Strickland and Joe, next week. Swerve wants it to happen right now, but Adam says he doesn't make the rules around there, they do, and the match is happening next week. Tony Schiavone breaks in with a "but" and says Tony Khan has made the match official for right now, bring out a referee. Then we saw a match between Samoa Joe and Shane, Swerve, Strickland versus The Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, and the result of this match was Samoa Joe and Shane Strickland defeated The Kingdom by pinfall with the JML driver from Strickland on Matt Taven. Wardlow comes out on the stage and Shane is distracted, leaving an opening for Joe to choke him out with the coquina clutch. Backstage, Renee Paquette interviews Hook. Before he can speak, Chris Jericho rolls up and talks about wrestling Taz at the ECW arena and that he's never forgotten getting suplexed on his head, and that led to him feeling like he had a connection with Taz, and after Hook dumped him on his head he felt a connection to him, too, and maybe he is the real deal, and he congratulates him on that. Back from the commercial, the Young Bucks cut a promo backstage. They have a huge announcement, no, 2 huge announcements. Nicholas wants to launch into them, but Matthew cuts him off and says they should make their announcements live in the ring, later tonight. The next match happened between Brian Cage versus Hook for the FTW Championship, and the result of this match was Hook defeated Brian Cage by referee stoppage with Red Rum, retaining the FTW Championship. Post-match, the Gates of Agony jump Hook and beat him down until Chris Jericho makes the save. The next match happened between Killswitch versus Daddy Magic, Matt Menard, and the result of this match was Killswitch defeated Matt Menard by pinfall. Post-match, Killswitch goes to continue the assault when Daniel Garcia runs down to make the save. He fends Nick Wayne off, but the Big Dino is too much for him and lays him out. Wayne's World connects. Adam Copeland is here. He chokes Nick Wayne out and fends off an attack from Mother Wayne before chasing Christian Cage to the back. The cameras follow them as a desperate Christian makes his way outside and into the first car he sees, throwing the driver out and driving off, and Copeland says Cage ran like a little bitch, but this ends where it started, March 20th, in Toronto, Copeland vs. Cage 3, I Quit match. Renee Paquette interviews Kyle O'Reilly backstage and he says he hates admitting this, but for a while he didn't think he would ever wrestle again, but to be here now and be cleared and given a second chance at the only thing he's good at, he's just grateful. He's got nothing but love and respect for the Undisputed Kingdom, but he feels like he's fallen so far down the mountain he doesn't know what path to take. He could hang out with his friends and take the easy road, but he has to go it alone and see where he ends up. Tony Schiavone is in the ring to welcome the Young Bucks to make their big announcements, and they accuse Sting and Darby Allen of cheating by bringing all of Sting's veteran friends and his 6 feet 8 inches, 300-pound large adult sons out to help. But you can't take away that they ended Sting's career forever, and there's a tag tournament now and they're entering into it and getting their tag titles back. Now, onto today's agenda. They have 2 huge announcements for us. They said Hangman Page put his hands on 2 officials on Sunday and crossed a line, So unfortunately they have to suspend Hanger indefinitely from the Elite without pay. And then there's the next one, he doesn't even know how to say it. Kenny Omega disappeared off the face of the earth and hasn't made any of his dates for no good reason. So Ken is fired from the Elite. Eddie Kingston comes, and he tells them to find him now because he's got something to say. Matthew wants to take this conversation offline and talk like a gentleman. Nicholas grabs Eddie's shoulder and he erupts with punches for both of them. A low blow cuts Kingston off and they take him down. They go for the EVP trigger, but then comes Kazuchika Okada. He squares up with the Bucks, grabs Eddie, and drops him with a Rainmaker. The Bucks announce Kazuchika as the newest member of the Elite and shower him with Rainmaker Bucks. They pose on the stage and Okada throws up his invisible orange. The next match happened between Chris Statlander vs. Riho, and the result of this match was Riho defeated Chris Statlander by pinfall with a victory roll. Renee Paquette interviews Toni Storm and Storm asks her what season it is and she says almost spring, but no, Toni is talking about award season, and soon she's going to present the Tony Awards with an eye so they don't get sued. She gives Mariah May her first ever t-shirt. Tony Schiavone gets on the mic and talks about Darby Allen vs. Switchblade Jay White next week and introduces Darby for an interview. Darby says he's lacerated, beat up, and tired, and next week he has Jay White, and then at the end of the month he's climbing Mount Everest, and he wants to take this time to thank every fan and to thank AEW for giving him this dream, and if next week is his last match he's going to do what he always does, and go out fighting for his life. And as for the tag titles, he can't replace Sting, so the next team that wins it, he congratulates them, and he leaves the title in the ring. He goes to the ropes and bells chime and Bullet Club Gold comes out, and Jay said he wanted to congratulate Darby face to face on an amazing night at Revolution. But what is Darby Allen without Sting? He thinks he's a little lost puppy with no one to hold his leash. There's lots worse that can happen against Switchblade than a couple of scratches, so he has some ideas to preserve Allen. Instead of a match, he can come hang with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, and they have a nickname for him already, Darby Scissorhands. Darby asks if he's done and tells Jay he's main-vented the Tokyo Dome twice and then what, main-vented with cardboard cutouts? He doesn't believe the hype, and if he's as good as he thinks he is, he'll come alone. He jabs his baseball bat under Switchblade's chin and they have a moment. Julia Hart and Sky Blue cut a promo and Hart says it seems we've forgotten who she is, Princess of the Black Throne, Keeper of Secrets, and the TBS champion, and she'll have an open house challenge on Rampage to remind us of that. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Kyle Fletcher vs. Will Ospreay, and the result of this match was Will Ospreay defeated Kyle Fletcher by pinfall with Hidden Blade. Post-match, Bryan Danielson comes down the aisle in a meaningful manner, and the show goes off the air.